Hi and welcome to Old Time Knowledge. Well, in this video I'm going to show you how to make a super simple, delicious blueberry cobbler, but this same recipe can be used for any sort of fruit cobbler. So stick with me and we'll get right to it. Alright, so the first thing I want to do is tell you the ingredients. It's going to use a cup of self-rising flour, a cup of milk, a cup of sugar, 1 egg, and your fruit, whether it's peaches or blueberries. You could use apples, whatever you want. In this case, I'm going to be using blueberries, and I'm going to get started by melting this stick of butter. Now, some people don't put the butter in it, but honestly, how are you going to use Pam in a dish like this? You have got to just use the butter because it's going to make it extra good and extra delicious. So here's the butter, and I'm just going to pop this in the microwave real quick to melt it, because ultimately this is what's going to grease this dish. By the way, y'all, I was so excited. We have a local auction that happens here every other weekend, and I bought more Corningware at that auction. My mom had this same pattern when I was a little girl, and so I was really excited to get some more pieces of this. Super cheap. Alright, so while that's melting, I've rinsed my blueberries. They're fresh blueberries. I've just got them sitting in a bowl of water. I'm going to drain these and get these ready. Now I have my melted butter in the dish, and I'm just going to swirl it around to get the inside of it nice and coated. I'm going to put this aside. Now, I don't have my typical daily bread self-rising flour because the last time I went to the store, they didn't have any. So I've got this brand. And so I'm just adding a cup of self-rising flour. I'm going to need to get a cup of sugar. A cup of milk. And once I've gotten this mixed together, I'll add an egg. Some people don't use an egg, but I like the egg because it gives it a nice sheen on top, and I just think it just adds a little something extra. I'm going to add some vanilla because I just like to, but it's not required at all. This is my homemade vanilla. I will put a link in the show notes for how I make this. It's the easiest thing in the world. It does take time though, so it's not the kind of thing you can make in an afternoon. Well, you can make it, but it's going to take a few months for it to get really where you want it to be. All right, now I have about 3.5 cups of blueberries. So I'm just going to go ahead and put these in the dish. And now I'm going to pour batter over the top. All right, I'm going to get this in my 350-degree oven and bake it until it's brown on top. I'm not going to tell you how long because it can vary. Sometimes you might use more fruit, sometimes you might use less fruit. If you've used frozen fruit, you're going to want to thaw it out first and then drain off the liquid because otherwise it's never going to finish. It's just going to just cook and cook and cook and then get kind of tough. If you used canned fruit, which you absolutely can do, drain out the liquid before you make this. All right, so let me get this in the oven, and then I will bring you back when it's done. Alrighty, so it's done. Here is the delicious blueberry cobbler. It is nice and brown and toasty on top, and now it's just a matter of waiting for it to cool a little bit to enjoy some. I'm not going to let it necessarily cool all the way, but I'm going to let it cool enough that it won't burn my mouth. Plus, it will be a total mess if I try to scoop into it right now. But when it's warm, it is amazing with vanilla ice cream, or you can just pour some heavy cream on it, which I sometimes do. In fact, that's probably what I'll do today. But in addition, it's amazing. Room temperature, it's just so good. All right, it's cool enough to eat now, so I'm going to cut myself a slice. Just get a little serving here. And I love how it gets good and crispy on top. Of course, this is amazing. It's going to be delicious. All right, let me give it a taste. And I know it's delicious because I've had this so many times in my life. That is so good. The crust is the best part. Just don't even kid yourself. The crust is the very best part. But like I said, you can make this with peaches, you can make this with apples, you can make this with blueberries. With blueberries, you can use them totally fresh. If you're going to make it with peaches, you can make it totally fresh. Again, like I said, if you want to use frozen peaches, you should thaw them first and then drain off the juice. If you want to make it with canned peaches, you can do that, but again, drain off the juice, because if you add the juice to it, it's going to be too runny and it's not going to cook correctly. With apples, I think you'll be better off if you at least cook the apples a little bit before you put them in this. You can obviously use canned apples. Just you might want to drain out any juice or any liquid from that as well. And you can try other fruits that you like, but I think you get the principles from what I'm describing. Super easy ingredients. A cup of self-rising flour, a cup of sugar, a cup of milk, a stick of butter, and an egg. And then if you want, you can add some vanilla. The egg is also optional, but I like to add it. So anyway, as always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.